Hi everyone and welcome once again to my channel. It's your boy Luis Portelles, and for today's video we're going to be talking about Miss Philippines Earth 2023 and more precisely the candidates who are standing out, at least for me, at this point in the competition. So for those of you who are not aware, the other day I had the pleasure to attend the Miss Philippines Earth press conference where I got to see all of the delegates and of course hear them speak presenting their chosen tree. This was also an event for the media to take photos with the girls, to have interviews with them, and of course, I made the most out of my experience. So I thought that this will be a great moment to share with you all some of my comments and thoughts about the ladies who are competing this year to represent the Philippines at Miss Earth. I have curated a list of 10 candidates that I believe are standing out from the rest. This doesn't mean that the list might not change down the road depending on the upcoming competitions that we're about to witness as well. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and be part of the conversation in the comment section down below. I will see you with my assessment right after the intro. Be strong. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And the first thing that I'm going to start by saying, this is just a disclosure before we talk about people in the competition. My list drastically changed because when I went to double check some of the candidates that I really like or their social media presence and stuff like that, honestly, I was very disappointed with some of the girls. And for that reason, some of them did not make the cut. This is just a reminder, a warning for any pageant contestant who is currently competing in a regional, local, national competition, international, I don't care. You must make sure that you are spreading the message that you are preaching on the competition. You have to make sure that you're putting in the work. Otherwise, it's quite confusing for the audience and people like me, for example, who go to your profile for information and leave empty-handed. And I'm just going to emphasize, I am not talking about followers or numbers on social media, but rather just making sure that the information is available. If I go on your profile, I should be able to know what part of the country you're representing. I should be able to find out what is your advocacy, what are you doing to work towards it. So, I mean, those are really the basics. And for some of the girls that initially I was going to include on my list, I wasn't able to find those things. Anyways, putting that little rant aside, I'm just gonna get into the first lady that I want to talk about, which is, of course, the candidate representing Tungawan, Zamboanga, Sibugay. Okay, so honestly, she is one of the girls that borderline did not make the list because when I look up the Miss Philippines Earth website, I tried to access her profiles and the information says coming soon. She's the only candidate that does not have a description on the profile. And because of that, I'm actually wondering if she was a last minute addition to the pageant, because I don't think that they would have started the entire thing without one candidate not submitting her information, right? I also did not find any information about her on the YouTube channel of the organization. However, she does have a very strong look, which I was able to appreciate in person, and that's really why I am able to put her on my list. She was very eloquent during the event, and overall, she gave me a very, very good first impression. I was just surprised to see that the information is not really available online. You have the looks, you have the potential, but girl, make sure that the information and all of that is also accessible, because otherwise, that is a red flag, that's a warning. This might cost you a placement in the competition and even maybe a crown. So get this resolved as soon as possible, okay? Moving on, I want to talk about the candidate representing Silang, Cavite. This beauty from Cavite delivers and over delivers when it comes to the looks, the presence, and the wow factor. I love her presentation during the press conference. For me, she had one of those very, very strong looks. When the candidates were walking in front of the media, she was definitely one that caught my attention, and I had to follow her for every single moment that she was on stage. I know for a fact that Miss Earth Philippines or even Miss Earth is not about the commercial aspect, but it never hurts if a candidate has that little bit of a commercial appeal, and that's exactly what I see here in Miss Silang Cavite. She's also, of course, let's talk about her advocacy. She is an advocate for sustainable living, which is one of the best ways to make an impact on the environment, especially by addressing what we can do individually rather than focusing on the macro problems that sometimes might seem so difficult for us as people to resolve. Let's talk about Miss Dasmarinas City. Honestly, she is one of those candidates that made my list last minute because I had to remove 2 or 3 candidates from the list based on the lack of presence online or even information available online. But honestly, I'm really happy that I was able to give her that position. I think that she looks amazing, and I encourage you to go check her out on social media. This photo is just an example, but she is giving me a very regal, put together, elegant vibe that I think fits very well the Miss Earth Philippines brand. Physically and facially, she can put up a really good fight compared to most of the contestants as well. Now, her advocacy is called Art for a Cause, and it's an impactful way to protect biodiversity and promote sustainability. In other words, her platform is really close to ecotourism and being responsible when it comes to the environment, especially the actions that we have whenever we find ourselves in natural environments. So I think this is so important, especially for the Philippines, which is a country that is so rich in terms of nature and biodiversity as well. Now let's talk about the candidate representing Balayan, Batangas, which by the way, I had the pleasure to give her her special award as a darling of the press during the press conference of Miss Philippines Earth. I thought, of course, she is extremely beautiful and a very, very, very likable girl. Ever since that moment that I gave her the award, I had a few interactions with her on social media, and every single time she was amazing. By the way, I met her mom as well, and the mom was like so supportive of her girl, which I absolutely love. And the mom was also like super supportive of me. She told me I'm a fan. She came, took a few photos with me, and all of that, which I found absolutely adorable. As I said earlier, she was extremely well received during the press conference, and there is a sense of effortlessness about her that I really, really like. Even in the way that she answered the questions on the Miss Philippines Earth website. If you go and check, each candidate has a profile and they have to answer certain questions. Some of the girls go really deep, really detailed, and sometimes even like overly research, I believe, as in the information is so unclear and hard to access that, sometimes I'm like, what did she say? But this was not the case for Miss Balayan Batangas. The information was straight to the point, still very precise, and most importantly, for me at least, very accessible, which when you think about it, just makes it overall more efficient, right? Her advocacy is all about renewable, clean source of energy and gas-generated energy through biodigestion. So this is also called the biogas, which I think, once again, is so important. We're talking about air pollution. We're talking about the consumption of gas, with all of the transportation, the cars, and all of these things. We know that these things are really impactful when it comes to the current state of the environment. So Miss Palayan Batangas, she's doing the good work. Now let's talk about Miss Iloilo City. Just look at her and tell me, how can you overlook her? Impossible. And I promise you, if you get to see her in person, which I did at the press conference, she was absolutely mesmerizing. From the moment that she came out the door until the moment that she left the stage, I was just in awe of her. So when it comes to the looks, the presence, the aura, she checks all of those boxes. Let's just talk about her advocacy for a moment. And I'm really gonna quote what she wrote as an answer on the Miss Philippines Earth website. I have come up with the call on persuading everyone to care, which is, by the way, spelled as in CARE, which demands all Filipinos and others on becoming change makers who are actualizing the protection of biodiversity, especially for the endemic flora and fauna, reducing carbon footprints by using renewable energy resources, and enabling the youth through education to become ambassadors of environmental wellness. Now let's talk about it. This is absolutely amazing. Of course, I get what she's trying to do, but in my humble opinion, I'm gonna say it's maybe a little bit too much, especially for the context of a national pageant. I personally will go mostly with the more specific route to really focus on one issue, because I feel like each letter standing for something different really sends you in different directions that is really, really hard to cover all of those things properly. It's a lot of work and the advocacy is really no joke. So if I was her, or maybe like a person of the team, pageant manager, whoever is helping her through this journey, I will maybe edit the advocacy a little bit to make it more specific, less general, and maybe with those things even more impactful. But still, being ambitious is not a bad thing, so I, give her props for what she's doing. Let's move on to Miss Karaskal, Siargao del Sur. Absolutely stunning. She is so tall, extremely beautiful, impressive in person. She can be a model. Maybe she is a model. I don't know, but that's just my, first impression. She looks like a statue. As I said before, I don't think that having that little bit of commercial look will hurt the organization. It just really helps bring more sponsors and people who might be willing to work with the queens, which at the same time, it's a win-win for both the girl and the organization. But we know that Miss Earth and Miss Philippines Earth are not necessarily about the profit or commercial aspect of things. She was very, very eloquent during the press conference. I really enjoyed her presentation, and also has this kind of like soft personality, which really contrasts very well with her very imposing look. She's an advocate for solid waste management, which is one of the biggest environmental issues in the Philippines. And I can actually attest to this. I'm just going to give a random example. One of the things that I was really, really shocked to find out here in the Philippines is that when I came from Canada, in Canada, you walk like a block outside and you can find like many trash bins and, recycle bins and stuff for you to get rid of your waste, of your trash. Here in the Philippines, it's actually quite difficult to find somewhere to throw your trash. It's like I just went to the store, bought, I don't know, like a can of Coke, and I want to get rid of the can. Most likely, I'm not going to find a trash bin nearby. So I do believe that this is indeed a very, very good and timely cause. Let's talk about Miss San Jose City. Just look at the photo. Do me a favor and look at the photo. This woman, this look, these eyes, this color on her, this makeup, please, I beg. When I first saw Miss San Jose, I couldn't take my eyes off her, truly. And that was from the moment, once again, that she came out of the doors during the press conference until the moment that she left the stage. Absolutely hypnotizing. I'm really gonna praise her here for her styling and the versatility that I have seen in terms of the looks, both in person and on social media. She already stands out because of her natural beauty, but the fact that she's able to complement her even further with great styling and makeup, I have really no complaints about that. I really want to see more women in pageantry here in the Philippines do well, especially people who look like her, because, one of my biggest realization coming here to the Philippines is that a lot of Filipinas actually look like her. But most of the time, when you go to national pageants and, like when you get to those high levels, you see most of the time very fair skin, very white, very, you get the point. She even mentioned in her description that as a kid, she was bullied just because of the way that she looks. And I mean, she looks absolutely amazing. So I think that having people like her on visible positions, especially in pageantry, which is looked up as, being a role model and being a leader, it would really help change the mentality of people who still have those negative feelings about darker skin tones and just normalize their presence and their visibility on mainstream media and everywhere, right? Because that should just be the norm. Now, in terms of her advocacy, it's all about sustainable farming, which focuses on more organic ways to grow and harvest a corporation. Absolutely love it. Don't have anything to say negative. Honestly, all is good. So just keep it up in San Jose City. We are definitely getting into the top 3 at this point, but I just want to remind everyone, if you are watching the video and you are enjoying it so far, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. At number 3, we have Miss Melbourne, Australia. Actually, I got to see this girl a few times. First time was at the Binibini Pilipinas talent competition. Got to meet her there. Absolutely stunning, so down to earth, so warm. So I don't have enough adjectives to praise her. Same thing for her mom and her entire team. Everyone that was with her was just absolutely mwah. I have really no complaints. So sweet. And of course, as you can imagine, I got to see her as well during the Miss Philippines Earth press conference, not only as she was performing on stage, but also after the presentation. I got to have lunch with the candidates and I got to see most of them as well. And she was one of the girls that, of course, I had the pleasure to see again. Both times, I was really in awe of her beauty, both physical and facially. She has a very sweet character, which honestly comes across as being very genuine, especially someone as beautiful as her. I think that it just makes her more likable and more approachable. One thing that I really want to praise about her is her styling, especially for certain moments in the competition so far. I think that she has a very clever way to stand out through fashion. For example, for the press conference, she had these earrings that really made her pop. It just added some color, brought the attention to her face. And mind you, everyone was wearing a swimsuit, the same design for swimsuit. So she really found a way to stand out. And I think that's just, very commendable. She does not have the same pageant resume as some of her peers, meaning that she doesn't have that much experience in pageantry. So for me, the fact that she's standing out at this point, it just makes it even more impressive. She's an advocate for the reduction of single-use products and the transition to sustainable lifestyle choices. So, absolutely commendable. I love this candidate. Probably will have an interview in the upcoming days. So just stay tuned for that. We are in the talks for that. So if you have any questions for her, just leave them in the comment section down below. Now let's move on to the second position. We have Miss Mangatarem Pangasinan, of course, Miss Carrie. She's one of the popular girls this year. I mean, I have, ever since Miss Philippines Earth started, so many people have messaged me about her. Photos, videos, she's an influencer, she's a model, she's a beauty queen as well. She has done so many different things. And believe me, she did not disappoint during the time that I got to see her in person. This is not her first rodeo. She has competed before at Century Tuna Super Bads competition here in the Philippines before joining Miss Philippines Earth. I do believe that this is gonna make her a very fierce competitor because the Super Bads competition is quite challenging and it's really very, very much based on the physique. Most importantly, I will say. However, for someone that is so successful, so visible, and so respected, you will think that maybe, she would have her nose up there. But no, she's actually very sweet and very relatable. I got to talk to her and take a photo with her after the press conference. And honestly, I was really, really impressed with her character and everything. As I said earlier, the fact that she has so many good relationships with brands and other organizations just speaks volumes about what she brings to the table when it comes to being the face of an organization. So I don't want to say commercial, but I want to say, good networking possibilities here from Miss Carrie. So I would consider that if I was a part of the Miss Philippines Earth organization. Her advocacy is to educate people and children in the importance of reducing, reusing, and recycling, which is a message that is extremely close to the heart of Miss Earth and Miss Philippines Earth as well. Now, last but not least, let's talk about my number one pick so far in terms of who is standing out for me and that I see as a potential winner for Miss Philippines Earth. Of course, I'm talking about Miss Siniloan Laguna, Iliana Aduana. In my very humble opinion, Iliana is the strongest contender so far in the competition. She has a strong pageant record as a former Miss Fit Philippines. She also competed as Binibining Pilipinas and she did manage to obtain a placement as a contestant. In terms of her beauty, I mean, there is nothing, absolutely nothing to criticize when it comes to Iliana. She possesses one of the most polished and commercial looks of the entire batch of candidates. And one thing that I noticed about Iliana is really how much hype there is around her. And this is not something that you can really create or come up with. During the press presentation, for example, most members of the media were very respectful and very quiet, just taking photos during the event. But the moment that Iliana came on stage, that she delivered her speech, and then she was moving to the back part of the stage, the media went crazy. Everyone wanted to take a photo. Everyone wanted a piece of her. And that just speaks volumes about, what she brings to the table with her beauty and her purpose. I also want to give her props for being so mindful of the small details. If you go through her Instagram and you look at the photos and the different looks, the style, the fashion that she has chosen to present during the competition, it's all super, super close to the environment. A lot of the clothes are designed with, like, for example, like rice bags. And you had another dress which was made with shells. So it truly shows that she's not just talking the talk, but she's also in a way incorporating that sustainable message through even her fashion. Every single move, every single step of the journey has been calculated. And I'm going to say, I believe this is going to pay off for Iliana. Her advocacy is about spreading awareness and educating people, especially about the issues our Mother Earth is facing at the moment. Simple, but straight to the point, and it embodies quite literally the message of the organization. So it cannot really get better than that. Please go ahead and let me know in the comment section, what do you think about my picks? Would you include someone in there? Would you take someone out? And I also want to get your opinion about, how do you feel about people competing in the national pageant? And when you go check the social media, there's little to nothing of, the competition of what they're doing as a representative. So I will be reading in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and just do all the nice things that YouTube likes when it comes to content creators. I'll see you on the next one. Please stay safe, be kind to one another. I love you, and that's it. Bye.